Welcome everybody. This is our Wednesday check-in. I try to come in at least every Wednesday and do a long form video just to kind of connect with everybody out here. Today's topic is going to be on different types of medication that a lot of you are being put on for the conditions of Eustachian Tube Dysfunction, tinnitus, TMJ, patch Eustachian Tube Disorder. TMJ is really what you're dealing with while you're dealing with Eustachian Tube Dysfunction and tinnitus and all these other conditions related to the ear. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that and give you some of my feedback about different ones. I won't pick on any particular medication names, but I'm going to talk about how they made me feel. Maybe you may feel similar to that, but I want to go ahead and jump in and let you know that when I was diagnosed with this condition, I was put on so many different nasal sprays. I cannot even list how many there were, trying different nasal sprays, going to different physicians, different, professionals, and letting them know what my symptoms were, what was going on with me, and just kind of giving them some feedback. It always ended up being nasal sprays, though. I would take home so many different nasal sprays. I literally have tried them all. I could be the poster boy of every nasal spray, major nasal spray company out there. And I can honestly tell you that it was just a waste of time, to be honest. It was just a waste of time. I would do the nasal spray, and it didn't really, I was following the nasal spray to a T. I was following it exactly the way the doctor told me. It was do one spray each nostril every so often, whatever it is the case might be at that time. And I was doing it to the T. Now, I was doing this consistently every day, for a month. And that's what my doctor was telling me to do. I was following the instructions. I can almost bet that during that process, it made my condition worse. It made my ears clogged more. I felt dehydrated more. I felt just ran down, just sticking to the plan. The problem why that didn't work is that wasn't ultimately the problem that I was having. See, and that's why I come on here every Wednesday and I talk about this. And like I said, this week is about nasal spray specifically, but medication in general, because going the allergy route, for a lot of you don't need that, you don't need the allergy route. So you're going that route, and it's like you're putting all these things in your body that's not going to help you. And it's actually an article that I will post into the description that kind of tells you that if you're misusing, not even misusing, I shouldn't even use that, just using nasal spray for what you're being told to do, for how long you're being told to use it, is causing your eustachian tubes to block. It's in an article. It's been shown that it actually blocks the eustachian tube nasal sprays. Now, I don't have the exact name of I don't have a particular brand that does it more than the other versus the other, but I will say that nasal spray, the ones that I've had, actually made my condition worse. Now, yeah, that's a big news flash. Once I stopped the medication, I stopped taking the nasal spray specifically, I started doing more healthier things for my body, doing things that would benefit me without all the harmful side effects. I started to notice that there was a sense of clarity. Now, my ears didn't completely unblock right away. Now, it took a little time with, patience and diligence. But over time, I started to realize at least my head didn't feel stuffy. Now, I don't know if a lot of you can relate to this, but when you take nasal spray, you intend to think that right after you take it, you can breathe better, but it's actually doesn't help at all. There may be similar cases if you do have an allergy problem. Now, I do want to do a disclaimer that if you have an allergy related problem and you take nasal spray and that helps you, then that's what your reason is. That's what your cause is. That's what the causation is for your particular problem. But from what I'm covering and what my problem was, it was actually aiding to making it worse. So if a lot of you are taking nasal spray and you haven't made nasal spray be now I'm not going to get on here and tell people to stop taking, their medication, but I'm going to tell you, look at your overall situation. If you're noticing you're feeling worse over time, just, you're going through this head. I used to get this thing where it felt like my head was clogged, but my entire head region was clogged up. And I was like, I can't be. I'm taking nasal spray. I should be clear. I should be feeling a little bit better. And this is after a week, 2 weeks of doing this consistently. This isn't just doing it one day a week and putting it in my drawer somewhere and putting it on the shelf and forgetting about it and then coming back when I feel real bad. No, I'm one of those people that if someone says commit to this and you'll feel better, I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to put reminders on my phone. I'm going to remind myself. I don't care if I'm in bed already, getting ready to sleep. If the doctor is telling me, hey, you need to do this every single day and you'll feel better, I'm going to do it. I'm going to find my way to that resolution eventually. So I was doing that and it just wasn't doing it for me. And it took me about, I know this sounds like a long time, but it took me 2.5 years, 2 years to kind of just, it clicked and say, wait a minute, there's something else here. It can't just be that. So a lot of you are going through this right now. And this is why this video is very important, because a lot of you are at the process in the phase where it's like you're doing what you're supposed to. You're being told this by professionals and you're not getting the relief that you should be getting, after that amount of time. It's been months, maybe some of you out there years. And so I want to tell you, look at your medication a little closely. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be here and tell you to not take it or tell you it's the bad one, it's bad, get some new ones or do something. I am going to give you my example. I'm going to tell you what happened to me. And I'm just going to give you my honest opinion. When I stopped taking that medication, started upping my water intake, started doing stretching, neck stretching, doing massaging the masseter muscle, the biggest, strongest muscle right here of the face. I started doing all these things consistently. And of course, like a lot of you have already heard and me already allude to, red light therapy. Doing this consistently helped me tremendously. And it actually, after about doing this about 9 days straight, 8 to 9 days, I felt like it. I had, there's a point in time when you heal and you feel like I made it. I may not be 100%, but I'm 99.6%. Like everyone knows where their threshold is with healing. When you're there, when you're going to get over to the healing side. And then you also know when you're not making progress, and then the anxiety kicks in and depression kicks in. And that's when, you kind of fall back a little, but I made it over that hump. And I knew that if I just keep going, that it would all be worth it. And I'll be through, this whole mess, because I told myself after doing this and struggling for 3 years, I said, as soon as I'm healed, I am going to devote 90% of my time healing others, helping heal others and give them a guidance. Because this process is not for the weak of heart. I mean, it's awful. It's for all of you out there that may not get you may not get the recognition that you feel you deserve because it's an ear. People think when it's just an ear problem, they think it's just a small challenge. They think some people. I don't want to. A lot of you might have some very supportive individuals in your group and in your circle, but I'm gonna say a lot of you may have individuals or group people you hang out with, coworkers or family, whatever. They may not look at the ear as being so severe. They may say, "Oh, just you'll be all right. It's an ear," But people don't realize this condition can get worse. It can turn into tinnitus. It can cause issues with hearing loss. Okay, this isn't something to play around with. But at the same time, I'm not here to scare you because I got through it, and I know a lot of you can get through it. I responded to some comments on the Facebook and in YouTube to a lot of you out there that said, when is this going to go away? Is this ever going to go away? And honestly, I respond the same for most of you. I say, just keep going. You have to just weather the storm. You literally have to just keep going. And then there's a study that came out that said that a lot of antihistamines, so again, here's another thing that I wanted to rant about. For a lot of you that are being diagnosed in an allergy format, meaning the doctor has concluded that it's an allergy problem. Here's another kicker. They are saying the research is behind all of this. You can research check me for sure. A lot of the antihistamines and a lot of the allergy medication has been shown with consumption over a certain amount of time has caused the eustachian tube to remain open. Now, I'll say that again. Using what the doctor told you to take for the amount of time he or she told you to take it has caused the eustachian tube, taking that medication has caused that tube which is only about 1 to 1.5 inches or so, very small, to remain open. Meaning, if now you now hear your own voice, you now hear sounds. In terms of, when I mean sounds, it's almost like the sounds echoing in your ear. You hear muffled sounds now. You now have this condition called patulous eustachian tube dysfunction or patulous eustachian tube disorder, meaning your eustachian tube has now remained is in an open position rather than being closed, only opening to when you yawn, when you chew, things like that. It's just staying open the whole time, which we all know that can be a risk factor for many conditions, many problems. It can build inflammation, fluid in the ear, and at the very, very worst, you can start having some long-term hearing, effects of that. So these are, what I'm saying is there are there's problematic complications with being diagnosed in an allergy route, going the allergy route, because you're doing a lot of things that are not really targeting the problem, but yet can potentially cause you to come back 4 or 5, 6 more steps going backwards. So this is why this video is so important. When you're taking medication and you're being told that this is the right medication to take, and you're going in that route, you don't think that it could bring you further back. And when you start going further back, you start thinking, well, how do I come forward again? You're going backwards with things that are supposed to help you get rid of it. So this video is not to tell you to stop your medication, things like that. This video is to bring awareness that if you are in this position where you've been told to take this, and that, you're going to have to just pay attention to your body. You're going to have to be real keen on how it makes you feel and how things, how your mood is. You got to focus on so many different things. And you really have to journal everything down. Literally, you have to journal things down. Okay, I just took this new nasal spray. They said it's supposed to help me, but yet now I have this and now I have that. Give yourself some time to start putting the pieces together, because I wasn't, and I'm still not as smart as a lot of you out there who are joining groups, who are watching videos that are telling you all these things ahead of time. I thought I could just figure everything out by myself. And look, 3 years later, it took me 3 years to figure it out. Versus that, it can possibly take a couple weeks, maybe a month to figure it out. So I hope this video was very helpful for all of you. If it was, take time to subscribe to the channel. I try to post content as often as possible. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and step out of the Jaye Wellness Studio and leave you in good hands with this video. Like anything else, folks, let's go back to the basics. Take care, everybody.